number 3. Can you believe we're already on number 3? It seems like when you spend a day scrapbooking, it goes so fast. And yet we can be so drained by the end of the day. All right, for this creative prompt, we challenged you to scrap in odds. So you could do your photos, your embellishments, your use of pattern papers, whatever avenue you decided to use. We wanted you to do it in an odd number. Because of course, in the design world, your eye sees it as balanced when it's an odd number, whether it be the design in your home, on the scrapbook page, just design in general always looks better in odd numbers. Chances are if you're looking at your page and it still doesn't look right to you, it's missing something, chances are something is even. For this challenge, I have a friend who is near and dear to my heart. You all know and love her. For this creative challenge, we have guest designer Laurie Hugg. Laurie and I met many moons ago. I didn't even have my youngest son when she and I first met, and he will be 21 here very soon. So she and I go way back. She came to work with us here at the Whole Kit and Caboodle just 5 years ago. And if you know her, you love her. She is a constant ball of energy and has so many creative ideas. So Laurie is going to take it away and show you her tips and tricks on scrapping in odds.
Hello, my friends, old and new. My name is Laurie Hugg, and I have been with the Whole Kit and Caboodle now for 5 years. I can't even believe it's been 5 years already. The time has flown, but they say if you're having a good time, time flies, right? I am so very happy to be a part of this virtual event, and I have so many hopefully fun ideas to share with you. But first, let me tell you a bit about myself. I have been married for just shy of 35 years. Where did those years go? Holy cow. To my husband, Todd, I do call him Huggy most of the time when I am referring to him. So if you ever are talking to me and I refer to Huggy, it is my husband. He has retired just right before COVID hit, actually, but he is back to work, working full time. We have 2 children, Kaylee. She is 32. How can I have a 32-year-old? Because I'm 20, right? She is working at the Ohio State University as a facilities operations maintenance technician. That's a tongue twister, right? She has been, basically never left Columbus. She went to college in Columbus at the Ohio State University, and just stayed. And then my son also went to Ohio State University, and he is 29 now. He lives in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and is a biological science technician and works for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Can they not have a short name of where they work? It's like, I even had to ask them, now exactly what is it that you do? Anyway, sad of mom, right? We also have 2 furry family members. Zeke, he is a rescue, and Nala, she is a rescue. Cat and dog. So anyways, before I started working with the Whole Kit and Caboodle, I was a hairdresser for 34 years. I loved my job. It gave me the creative outlet, right? And also the social part of it. I used to never talk to people. Can you believe that one? My mom told me I'd never make it as a hairdresser, but 34 years later, I guess I proved her wrong. 2 shoulder surgeries took me out as being a hairdresser, and so I desperately was trying to find something to do. I was bored. I was used to being gone all the time working, and one day, 5 years ago, on my birthday, I was scrolling Facebook and found a post about the Whole Kit and Caboodle. looking for a virtual event coordinator. So I don't know what came over me. I never moved so fast in my life, I don't think. I went to my husband, begged him to help me fill out a resume. I had no idea how, because I'd always been self-employed my entire life, owning my own salon. But in the end, thankfully, I was hired and have been working with them since. I had met Andrea at least 20 plus years ago. I used to take classes from her in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And here I am all these years later, like I just idolized her, right? Like couldn't wait to go take my next class with this Andrea because she was just amazing. Still is, of course, right? But here I am, blessed to be working alongside her all these years later. Now, let's get on to the challenge, right? First challenge, for me anyway, is the odd numbers only. I love this challenge because I realized looking around my home, and I went back and looked at some of my old scrapbook pages, and I decorate in odd numbers, and most of the time I scrapbook with odd numbers on my pages. I think it's visually more appealing to the eye to have odd numbers. I don't know if you feel that way, but that's visually, that's what I see. So let's look at some designs first. This is an old one that I'm going to show you first. That is not what I designed for this challenge, but I when I was looking back at some of my designs, these are just striking to me because it makes the photo pop off the page, right? Like you see that one picture. So this is the first one I want to show you. Just one picture on this page, but look how striking just having one picture on your page makes a scrapbook spread look, right? Like you see all this, of course, right? But to me, that picture pops off the page. And I will show you the second one here. And here's the second one. This is brother and sister. So I was very fortunate to have sort of matching pictures, right? But again, even though you have, you know, a beautiful spread behind, it makes that one single picture just pop right off the page. Sorry, there's a little glare there. So back to talking about odd numbers. When you are building your scrapbook page, like when you're laying things out, I start a lot of times with a bigger piece. As far as like in your embellishments or your title or anything like that. So I pulled out some of my scraps just to show you a little bit about what I'm talking about. So I've got a little board here, and we're going to build with some of the die cuts. First of all, I always choose a larger die to start with. And I'm just going to show you what it looks like then in the odd numbers compared to the even, right? So we have a bigger flower. And then I go to a smaller one. And there's two. Very pretty, right? But wait till you put up three. Okay, can you see the difference there? I love the three together and not just the two. See how much more appealing that is to the eye when you add a third die cut. Okay, so now let's move on. So then I added a fourth. And to me, oops, used a white one, sorry about that. It looks great, but just there's something missing, right? So then I went to add an enamel dot. And look at that. there is 5. And see how appealing that is to the eye. Start with a larger one and just work your way down. Okay, we're going to do it one more time here. I've got a larger circle, star, another star, and you can play with the way you put on your embellishments. You can work down the side of your page, top of your page, but I'm just showing you here on my little samples. And then we have number 4. And then the 5th piece, if I can get it off of my finger. Okay, so I'll show you again. There's 5 and 5. And you can build from there. You can go on, you can make a hole, you can go down to 7. You can keep building with it. But a lot of times, like I said, I start with height, right? And then work my way down into smaller pieces. And I always decorate with odd numbers. All right, so now we're gonna move on and start with the designs that I made from our bougie bag. And let's give a shout out to Andrea for these bougie bags that she personally puts together. Every single one of them, right? Like, I just can't believe the time that it takes her to do and put all of these together. So the papers coordinate beautifully together, right? And gives us so many different papers in the pack to make multiple different types of layouts. And that's what I did. Like, I have so many different types of layouts in all of my challenges. So the first one that I'm going to show you, I'll give you a little background about it. It is a very sentimental page to me. It is about a game. It sounds silly, but we played this game. It's called Tripoli every single year at the holiday with my grandparents. I played when I was a little girl. And then we just played it every year with my parents. And now we have passed it on to our children as well. My brother and my sister and I, all of our children play it. And it's just, like I said, a family tradition. When my mom passed away 2 years ago, we were clearing out her house. Sorry. And we walked into the bedroom where she kept this Tripoli game. And we all 3 stopped in our tracks and we're just like, oh, crap. Who gets the Tripoli game, right? And we're like, well, we all just stood there, and then I don't even remember whether my brother or my sister said, let's have a playoff. And so we're like, okay, perfect. So whoever won, we played every year at either Thanksgiving or Christmas, and whoever won for that year got to take the game home with them for the entire year. And then we would have another playoff the next year. So that's what my first page is about. This is my Tripoli spread right here. As you can see, I have 9 photos, and then we'll go in a little detail about the rest of the page, the title, and all the accessories that I have here. So let's talk about each page individually. So this one, as you can see, there are 6 photos on the page, but my thought process with this was break the pictures up because I wanted to use visually the space on the page, right? And also I wanted to use this side has 3 pictures of my parents. Oops, I'm sorry, wrong side. This side has pictures of my parents playing Tripoli with us. And here's something. I legit could not find pictures of my family playing Tripoli. And we play every single year. Note to self, take more pictures. Anyway, so this is the memory side I have grouped in 3. And this is the side of us having the playoff game grouped in 3. So as I said, there's still 6 pictures, but when I visually look at it, I see, because I have backed them, I see the 3 and the 3. And then we'll go on to the title. I have Game Night, Tripoli, and Traditions. The game is about hearts. Of course, you use a deck of cards, but you get money for the hearts. So I made a hand with the hearts here. And then you play with chips. And then, of course, I use the symbol for each one of the cards. And as you can see, like I built, as I was talking about, like the height, working your way down. And so that's what I did here. You know, I had the cards up higher, and then I went down from there, the chips to the card things. Listen to me. Tongue twister. Anyway, and then I had broke it up into odd numbers here, the title. As far as the paper goes, I don't think there was any paper out of the Bougie Bag from this one, but I had in mind exactly what I wanted to do as far as the odd numbers. And this piece of paper here, hello, I thought never in a million years am I going to use that money paper, right? Found a use for it. So excited. So, all right, we're going to move on to the second page here. And I do have the 3 photos here on the spread. And then I did journal. That was fun. Like I've never journaled before. And I had to I thought I had it all figured out and had to message my friend to help me. So anyway, over here to my side of my spread, let me explain about where I was thinking with I wanted the memories down on this page, right? Because this game means so much to me. And like I told you from the other side, we play with chips. And so I pulled these chips out of the little container that holds the chips. I wanted those on my page, right? And just for fun, we always put in $1. So if you won the whole pot in the end, you won $6. But you know, when we were little kids, when we won, it was something, right? $6. So I added $1. I rolled it up and just showed one side of the dollar. And then I found this cute little deck here that said love for another hand. So anyway, once again, this is my first spread. Hopefully it gives you some great ideas on odd numbers. I am a huge Buckeye fan. Of course, my husband was. Both of my children went to Ohio State. And so, you know, we used to always have my uncle, not my uncle, my dad's cousin was from Michigan. And they would fly down sometimes for the Ohio State-Michigan football game. And when we were kids, we thought that was the greatest thing because we met at my grandparents and they were, of course, rooting for Michigan and we were rooting for Ohio State. Just a fun day. I've always dreamt and thought it would be the greatest thing to go to Ohio State-Michigan football game. As you probably know, it's a huge rivalry. The tickets are crazy expensive. And one of my clients that I caught for many, many years messaged me and said, hey, would you and Huggy like to go to the Ohio State-Michigan football game? And I'm like, oh, let me see. Let me message Huggy and ask him, LOL. So we, of course, went to the game. It was freezing cold. It was snowing, but we had the absolute best time. It was amazing. So that's where I went with my second spread. So this is my second spread here. It's of the Ohio State Michigan football game. I did everything in odd numbers. Okay, I am going to explain now. Put this up here close so you can see. Again, let's start with the title. And I worked, started with a larger snowflake. I love snow. So I, immediately knew that I was going to incorporate a snowflake with this spread because it was snowing like crazy. So my bigger piece is a snowflake, if you can see here. And then I just visually worked my way down right there into like smaller pieces. And I have the Buckeyes and the Buckeye leaf, of course. Now, about this title, I like to find unique titles, I guess. And of course, I'm sitting at this football game, taking picture after picture after picture and looking around. And this gentleman turned around and looked at me, and his emblem on his hat said Big Noon Kickoff. And I'm like, light bulb went off. I'm like, yes, Big Noon Kickoff. What a great title. And then I'm racking my brain thinking, okay, are you going to remember that? Because, I am like 59, menopausal, and I walk out the door and forget something. Like when I get how many weeks later that I'm going to put a page together, am I going to remember this title, what I want to use, right? So I waited and waited and waited for this gentleman to turn back around so I could quickly get a picture of his hat. He never turned back around. So at the end of the game, he was still there. Most of the Michigan people in our area had left because Buckeyes won. Yay. Anyway, when we were walking out and leaving, I asked him, sir, do you mind if I take a picture of your hat? And he just looked at me like I was crazy. I mean, I felt a little bit crazy, but I'm like, I wanted this title. So anyway, that's my story about how I got this title, Big Noon Kickoff, because it was on the emblem of his hat. So, moral of the story, look, like everywhere, like there's titles to your pages out there. Like there's inspiration for your embellishments. Just pay attention visually. Like all these things are out there. So anyway, and then I again went with a larger to smaller, and there's 5 pieces here. And then I did decide to add multiple layers to the snowflakes, or the stars, I'm sorry. And then giving them all a little bit of extra dimension, if you can see here. I popped them off the page and gave it a little bit more appealing visual to the page. And then I did stitch as well. I haven't stitched on a page for many years, but I was just like, the outside just needs a little bit of something, right? And I wanted all of this to pop out of off the page, so I wanted to use a light background so you could see it. So I decided to stitch. All right, so second page. I wasn't real thrilled with a lot of my pictures. A lot of them look the same, right? So I decided, I got online and never done this before, but I pulled some of the pictures off of Facebook and I printed them off. The scoreboard, they immediately took down the score of the game, and so I was really mad I didn't get that picture that, showing that we won, right? So I pulled it off of Facebook. So moral of the story is, if you don't get all the pictures you want, look online, you might find them. So, and that's what I did here. I got Brutus with the score of the game here. And I don't know if anybody watched the game, but Brutus did X out the M in the snow of the Michigan. It was pretty great. And did script Ohio in the snow. Again, we have the star, 3 pictures. Here, 3. And then I pulled this one off. So here, I designed this as well. Again, I went with the bigger down to the smaller here. So there is the spread. Again, 3, and there's 5 pictures on this page. And each of the titles, the Big Noon Kickoff and the Buckeye one down there, everything is in odd numbers. I am not a grandma. My children are not married, but I do have a dear friend who was my kid's nanny, that I like to pretend that her children are sort of like my grandchildren, right? Like since they're a little bit older, I have them over during the summer to stay. We are an hour away from each other. So when they were real little, I was a little bit nervous about being that far away at night. But I have a party for them each summer because they love my neighborhood kids. So I invite the neighborhood kids and along with my friends 2 littles, and we have a big party. So with the Bougie Bag paper, Andrea had in there very bright, fun colors for one of my, and I can't tell you exactly which line it came from, which line it was for that one. But I saw the paper and all these visions started happening in my head with the kids' party of what I wanted to do. This is the spread. And I will show you each one then individually and tell you how I came up with the idea here. So first of all, I'm like, okay, like I had it specific in my mind what I wanted to do, right? I wanted a picture of just the 2, my friend's children. And the only one I had was we first met halfway and we went to the movies. So that ended up being my picture that I used here for the middle. And it was the only one that would fit in the middle of my son, of all the pictures that I took of the kids all weekend long. But I'm like, how do I do what I want to do? Because all the fun papers in the Bougie Bag, I'm like, I want to use all those fun colors. And I'm like, the sun, the rays. And so I ended up finding a sun in Design Space. And so I cut it out of Design Space and then decided on what all papers that I wanted to use on the spread. And I labeled them just to make sure on all the rays that I made it look right with all the different papers that I had that I wanted to use. See, I'm stuck. And so I ended up turning the sun upside down, and then I traced all the sun rays. There's probably an easier way to do this, but it's what I did. So like I said, I flipped the sun that I cut out of Design Space, flipped it over, and then cut each of the sun rays out here. You can see all of the different patterns of the sun rays that I used. And then I'm like, look at that. I'm like, okay, it needs something else. Like, you know, you think of the sun rays coming down, right? And I'm just like, they just look cut out, right? So I ended up I got a little, I'm not sure what to call it. It's just a tiny little piece, tiny little thing, I'm sorry. And it's got like little razor blade inside of it. So I ended up taking that and roughed up all the edges to the sun rays just to make it look, I don't know, a little bit more visually like they're coming out at you like the sun would. That's what I pictured in my head anyways. And then I'm like looking at it and I'm like, okay, it still needs a little bit of something. So I got the needle and thread back out. Like my finger was so sore trying to poke it through all of this paper that, but I have a little, oh, let me grab it real quick to show you. I have no idea if they still have these or not, but this is what I used. I saw him laying on my desk right here. This is the little guy that I used to, that has the little like sharp razor blade things in there. This is a little guy that I used. I think I'm not sure where it came. I think I got it off of Amazon. And then these are the little guys, and I've had these for years. Like I said, I have no idea if they still make them or not, but it's EK Success Cutter Bee Bugs is what I used. And then it's got the little pokey things on here. Can you see? And so I just took it how far I wanted and put poked holes into my paper, and that helped definitely. And then I used a poker, some of them, because I learned I had to press a little bit harder than what I did to get through the paper. So again, it's Cutter Bee Bugs. Like I said, I have no idea if they still make these or not, but they might have something different if you want to stitch and sew on your pages. My Ohio State one though, I did take a ruler and went across the top and took that and then went along there so I could make a straight line. And I did use a pencil. I marked it across there, but the stitching covered it all up, so it didn't matter. You couldn't see the pencil then after that anyway. So anyway, and then excuse me, I ended up just had all kinds of fun embellishments that I wanted to use. I cut some off of the Cricut out of Design Space, but it's been a long time since I really scrapbooked. And especially this many pages all at once. And let me tell you, got my creative juices going big time. But I'm just like, okay, so the challenge, always, you know, I wanted to do different things for all of the challenges, and I decided, all right, get out some of the stash that you have, that you've saved for so long. Like, how many of us have the stash, right? Like a bunch of us. So I pulled out like some like of these flowers and added those in there. This is a chipboard piece, and then I have the little fun, I think that they're from Echo Park maybe. The little buttons here that I used, just different things. I just wanted it visually appealing, and I started heavy down here and went really light out to here, like I showed you on our board, what we did right in the beginning. This is how I went and created all the way out, and this is all odd numbers. Odd numbers here in the paper, 1, 2, 3. And this is some of the paper that I got in my bougie bag, along with a lot of the sun rays. And then, I did the same thing here. I started here and worked my way out to the smaller pieces. And again, I used the different flower and chipboard butterfly. Anyway, okay, that is page number 1 of this spread. And on to the second one. Okay, so again, for this spread, I had seven pictures, but 6 of them are on this page. But when you add the 2 together, you see the odd, right? At least in my eyes, I see the odd. I wanted to do the odd numbers in many different visual ways. And so this one, like I said, I did 7. Okay, so I did end up deciding, like I am all about the pictures, right? Like And let me tell you, I narrowed it down big time for what I originally wanted to put on the spread. But these were my favorite of all the littles. Of my cousins live on one side, so I had their twins, and then I have other ones on the other side. We just had a whole and a couple other ones down the way. So I just wanted to incorporate all the pictures. So I have many, many pictures of all of them here. I bought a new slip and slide for them. We had little, it was so hot that day, so we sat down. I had a craft for them to do. They made their own little, painted their own little stepping stones here. And then I got these fun chickens off of Amazon. They had their time of their life with those things, flicking them out into the yard. They played kickball. We had water balloons. I like to throw a good party. And then, okay, so back to the page. So then this one, I visually went down the page. I put my biggest piece here in the middle and then went up and then down. So one more time, I'll put both pieces up for you, and then I'll tell you. I was so sad. I was putting all of the pieces away. And I had paper everywhere when I was designing all of these spreads. I put all the paper with the pictures, and I just had it all worked out so I could spread out all the fun paper that we got out of the bougie bags. And then I so darn found this after I was done. Somewhere on these pages, I'm going to add a little bit of this to see the sparkle. I had an orange sparkly paper. It would have looked awesome on this page. So I'm gonna add that on there later. I found it last night. I'm like, oh shoot. All right. So I think, let me think for a second. I think I have told you everything I want to do about odd numbers. If you have any questions, I will be online. And so you can ask your heart away, and hopefully I can answer those questions for you. I do have a tip that I would like to share with you. I sometimes like to use the little strips off of the end of the paper that they have, like, you know, a lot of them. This one is not, but it's got, you know, a piece of the paper that you can use on your spread. And sometimes I like those little thin strips to break up parts of my larger pieces of paper. And so how hard are those things to cut if you want to cut down the middle of it, right? So my tip for today, for this challenge, is put it where you want to cut it, in the middle, and then hold it with a sticky note. And then cut it. It holds it right to the cutter, the trimmer, and voila! You got the thin strip without it sliding all over the place, and it's cut perfectly. So, if you use those little thin strips, I hope that tip helps you out. And last, I have a little something to read to you. Scrapbooks bind together memories to warm our hearts and remind us that life has been good. I'll see you in the next challenge.
So are you buzzing with ideas now? You know, as I said, Laurie is just full of energy and full of creative ideas. I love how she takes one challenge and shows you so many different ways to interpret that challenge. It really helps stimulate, I think, the creativity, and hopefully you got a lot of good ideas. I really love how she gave you the example board and how she kept adding the embellishments. It's a great visual when you can see, you know, what it looks like with 2 versus what it looks like with 3, because it just naturally looks more balanced. And what about using that Photo Play Inflation Nation collection? I know I have heard so many times that is not a collection that you would have purchased on your own. I personally love that collection, but how brilliant to use it on a game night. right? You have that money, Monopoly or Tripoli, just an adorable layout and a great use of that collection paper. And then she showed you the Ohio State sample. You know, we also have that in common. My oldest son is actually a professor at Ohio State University and will be wrapping up his doctoral degree here in the next couple years. So I love that not only are she and I good friends, we have 2 children that work at Ohio State and live in Columbus, Ohio. But my absolute fave design of hers, what about that sun? Wasn't that stunning? The use of the rays for pattern paper strips, make sure you do it in odds. It just really is visually stunning. Kudos, I absolutely love that design. All right, so for this particular one, you have some splaining to do. We also want to know, not only when you upload your project, we want you to give a little interpretation there of how you interpreted the odd number. So let us know if it's with your photos, with a color, with embellishments, with words. So give just a little brief explanation in the comment section, and then make sure you click that little camera button and upload your project here so that we can see what you did with challenge number 3, scrapping in odds.